Night falls and the fire begins shrinking. Everyone else appears asleep, but one person keeps staring into darkness. There is no clock, there is no mattress, there is no locked door, only breathing, embers, insects, and distant movement. Something snaps beyond the firelight. Was it a branch or something watching the camp? For ancient humans, sleeplessness was not inconvenience. It could be information. It could be warning. It could keep everyone alive. But what happened when sleep refused to come? Did they panic? Did they count imaginary sheep? Did they simply lie there until sunrise? The answer is stranger than modern insomnia. Ancient humans probably treated wakefulness as useful. Sometimes they guarded, sometimes they listened, sometimes they fed the fire, sometimes they talked quietly beside sleeping relatives, sometimes they may have dreamed while half awake. The night was not empty. It was another environment, and humans had to survive inside it. We have no Stone Age sleep diaries, no hunter carved "awake again at midnight." Sleep leaves almost nothing in the ground. Archaeologists recover bones, hearths, shelters, and tools. They rarely recover a sleepless hour. So researchers build the answer indirectly. They study human biology, they examine ancient campsites, they compare living hunter-gatherer communities, they read later historical descriptions of sleep. Then they look for patterns. Those patterns challenge modern assumptions. Today, many people expect one continuous block. 8 hours, one bed, one room, one private body. That arrangement is historically unusual. For most human existence, sleep was social. Bodies rested near other bodies. Children slept beside adults. Adults slept near fire. Dogs sometimes slept near people. Smoke drifted through shelters. Night sounds passed through every wall. Privacy was almost impossible. Safety came from proximity. That changed what sleeplessness meant. Being awake did not always mean being alone. Someone nearby might also be stirring. Another person might whisper. A child might cry. An elder might shift closer to warmth. The camp itself remained partly awake. In 2015, Jerome Siegel and colleagues investigated sleep. They studied the Hadza, San, and Simane. These communities live without industrial lighting. They also follow strongly natural daily rhythms. The researchers measured sleep using wrist devices. The results surprised many readers. People did not sleep immediately after sunset. They often stayed awake for several hours. They usually woke near sunrise. Sleep duration was not dramatically longer than hours. Average nightly sleep was roughly 6 to 7 hours. Temperature mattered more than fading light. People often slept as nights cooled. They woke as temperatures reached their lowest point. The body followed the environment, not a glowing digital clock. But even that was not the strangest finding. Individual sleep schedules varied. Older people slept differently from younger people. Early sleepers shared camp with late sleepers. Some woke before others. This created natural nighttime coverage. In 2017, David Sampson studied Hadza sleep timing. His team described sentinel-like behavior. Across 20 nights, someone was almost always awake. Complete group-wide sleep was extremely rare. Different chronotypes overlapped like rotating guards. No formal schedule was required. Biology created the watch. An older adult awakened early. A younger adult remained awake late. A restless sleeper filled another gap. Together, their insomnia became security. Could sleeplessness have been socially useful? For a vulnerable camp? Absolutely. Large predators hunted at night. Leopards, hyenas, lions, and snakes shared landscapes. Rival human groups could also approach unseen. Fire reduced danger, but fire required attention. Embers die quietly. Wind can scatter sparks. Rain can extinguish heat. A waking person could add fuel. They could move a burning branch. They could shield embers with ash. They could warn others before flames spread. One awake body protected many sleeping bodies. That may have favored flexible human sleep. Primates usually sleep longer than humans. Humans sleep unusually short, intense nights. David Sampson calls this the sleep intensity hypothesis. Human sleep became shorter but more efficient. Ground sleeping may have helped drive that change. So did fire. So did group defense. So did social life after sunset. Our ancestors traded some sleep for safer wakefulness. They also gained time together. Firelight extended the usable day. Hands could still work near flames. People could repair cutting edges. They could scrape hides. They could twist fibers. They could inspect wounds. They could prepare food for morning. Some activities were probably difficult in darkness. Others only needed firelight and patience. Archaeology cannot identify every midnight task, but hearths reveal repeated nighttime occupation. Burned bone, charcoal, and ash mark persistent use. Many hearths were rebuilt again and again. Fire was not merely a cooking appliance. It was warmth. It was protection. It was light. It was a social center. When sleep failed, the hearth offered purpose. A person could sit beside it. They could listen beyond the circle. They could watch sparks rise. They could think without needing productivity. That last possibility matters. Modern culture often treats wakefulness as failure. Ancient life may have treated it as a state, not pleasant every time, not harmless every time, but not automatically abnormal. Historical evidence offers another clue. Roger E. Kirch studied pre-industrial European sleep. He found hundreds of references to two sleeps. People described a first sleep, then a waking interval, then a second sleep. This pattern appeared before modern electric lighting. During the interval, people prayed, they talked, they tended fires, they checked animals, they had sex, they interpreted dreams, they sometimes visited neighbors. These records are not Stone Age evidence. Europeans living centuries ago were not cavemen. But the pattern shows something important. Continuous sleep is not humanity's only possibility. Human sleep can naturally fragment. Laboratory studies support that flexibility. In the 1990s, psychiatrist Thomas Ware changed light exposure. Participants experienced long winter-like darkness. After several weeks, their sleep reorganized. They began sleeping in two distinct blocks. A quiet waking period appeared between them. During that interval, prolactin levels remained elevated. Participants often described calm, dreamlike awareness. Their midnight wakefulness was not always anxious. It was sometimes peaceful. Could ancient humans have experienced something similar? Probably, under long natural nights, but no single pattern ruled every place. Equatorial nights differ from Arctic winters. Open grasslands differ from caves. Summer differs from winter. Pregnancy changes sleep. Illness changes sleep. Age changes sleep. Danger changes everything. Ancient sleep was flexible because life was unstable. When one person could not sleep, they adapted. They shifted position. They moved closer to warmth. They checked children. They listened for animals. They relieved themselves beyond the sleeping area. They drank water if water was available. They examined pain. They rubbed cold limbs. They may have soothed frightened children. They may have spoken with another wakeful person. Conversation after dark carried special power. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner studied Zhuangzi firelight talk. She compared daytime and nighttime conversations. Daytime talk focused heavily on practical matters. Nighttime talk changed. Stories became more common. People discussed distant communities, they recalled ancestors, they shared myths, they danced and sang. Firelight widened the social imagination. A sleepless person could absorb those stories. They could learn without formal teaching. They could hear who broke an old rule. They could remember where water once appeared. They could learn which animals demanded caution. Storytelling stored survival information inside emotion. That made memory easier to carry. Night talk also strengthened belonging, which mattered when darkness felt enormous. Ancient humans did not conquer night alone. They domesticated it socially. Still, some wakefulness was probably miserable. Pain kept people awake. Parasites kept people awake. Cold kept people awake. Hunger kept people awake. Grief kept people awake. Fear kept people awake. A crying infant could exhaust an entire family. Smoke could irritate lungs and eyes. Hard ground could press injured joints. Humans suffered before the word insomnia existed, but they lacked our modern feedback loop. They did not watch minutes disappear. They did not calculate tomorrow's productivity. They did not see 3:17 glowing red. They could fear the night itself, but they could not fear the clock. That distinction changes the experience. Modern insomnia often includes anxiety about insomnia. You wake, you check the time. You predict failure. Your body becomes more alert. Ancient wakefulness still carried danger, but it also carried tasks. Guard the embers, listen for movement, comfort the child, speak with the elder, wait for the body to return. Sleep was not commanded, it arrived when conditions allowed, and when it left, life continued. That may be the deepest answer. Ancient humans did not always defeat sleeplessness, they folded it into the group. One person's wakefulness became everyone's protection. One person's story became everyone's memory. One person's fear became a shared watch. Today, sleeplessness often isolates us. We stare at private ceilings. We assume everyone else is unconscious. But human nights were once communal. The awake person still had a role. The fire still needed tending. The darkness still needed listening. Perhaps your midnight mind is not malfunctioning. Perhaps it remembers an older assignment. Stay awake briefly. Watch the edge of the light. Keep the others safe.